guest this evening, and that is Margot Wallen, the creator of This Week in Cats, founder, originator, all those things in between, who has really put together some cool cards that I think is going to interest, well, hopefully should interest all of our 12s out there. Margot, how are you doing this beautiful summer, hot as holy hell day in Seattle?
Yes, I'm doing well despite the hotness. Yes, it's good. As a Seattle native, I know I'm not supposed to complain about the heat, but I do, and I am already longing for fall and rain. I shouldn't say it, but I do, and I can wear my Seattle native badge with pride because I can only handle like 75-degree heat, so tomorrow it'll cool off.
What is it? I mean, we don't have AC. That's the problem. We don't have AC here. People around the country don't get that. We don't have AC.
No, and we just aren't. Our bodies aren't equipped for this kind of temperature. So I'll deal, but I won't sleep tonight. But I'll make do.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm really excited to talk to you about your creation and these cards that you have, especially your spin on them for the Seahawks and the 12s out there. So before we do that, why don't you just talk a little bit about yourself? I don't know a lot about you. I know you're a friend of someone who's a very good lifelong friend of mine, Mr. D-Train himself. So first of all, just tell everybody, the audience, a little about yourself, your fandom, your connection to the Seahawks, and a little bit about going into what you're doing with these cards.
Sure, yeah. So hello, everyone. My name is Margot, and Seattle native, and I've lived in Seattle pretty much my whole life, born and raised, except for going to college out of state. And like I've mentioned, Paul, on the break, lived in Texas for a couple of years for work, and too hot, moved back, never going to do that again. And, I've played sports my whole life, so it's always been an important part of whether I'm playing or watching, and basketball and volleyball and water polo, and I haven't ever played football, but it's something that's really fun. I think sports are so important, especially as children going out and playing a team sport, because of what you learn with winning and losing, because that's the way life is, and I just think that that's really invaluable. So it's always been something that I've been really active in, and I like to cook. I like to eat even more and drink too, wine. Rosé wine is my drink of the summer. And being outside, like gardening, except for today, tried to stay inside because it was too hot. And obviously drawing my cats. And then the last thing that's just kind of a funny little side note is a couple of years ago I found out that I'm allergic to cats, and I've had them my whole life. So I've got all sorts of contraptions at home, vents and air cleaning systems, you name it, to try and keep that in check. So it's fun.
Well, I'm allergic to cats. I think I mentioned that to you in a communique. And so I saw this. My sister her cat has now since passed away. She's had a hard time even getting another one because of that. But her family down in Los Angeles, I told you she's a cat person, obviously. You obviously are a big cat person, and that was an inspiration for you to create something very original. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Sure. So for years, I'd say about 10 years ago, I started doodling my 3 cats on the back of thank you notes that I would send to my parents and my sister. I'm a big handwritten thank you note person. I just love doing it. And at the beginning, they were very crude and really awful. But I kept doing it, and my family said, keep drawing. These are really funny. And when your parents tell you something is great, you think, yeah, it's because my family, they want me to feel good about myself. But,
exactly.
And so I sort of didn't really chalk it up to something that I thought I was, really good at. And I just kept practicing at it, and I really enjoy it. And like 4 years ago, my dad gave me a stack of the envelopes that my folks had saved, and he said, do something with these. Like, look at what you've been doing. And so then I thought, okay, I'm going to post them on a blog. And it wasn't until this year that I decided, I want to take a crack at making something of these, because I really enjoy drawing them. They make me smile. I love seeing people's reactions when they see my subtle little jokes that I tuck in there, and it's just fun. And that's why I do it. It's fun. It's kind of as a little bit of a cheer in the day because I came up with the name This Week in Cats because there's so much bad news in the world, and it was sort of a spin on This Week in the News, and there's usually just bad stuff going on, and I thought, well, there's a lot of fun stuff happening. It's usually cat involved, so why not call This Week in Cats? I mean, the internet is filled with cats. They're just killing it as far as being popular, so I'm hoping to get a piece of the cat action.
Well, we all know about Toonces the cat, and we're probably very much aware of the piano-playing cat on YouTube.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, cats.
There's so many of them. Yeah.
So, with all that being said, you're a local girl, obviously a huge Seahawks fan, and you created something called, I guess, the Beastmode card.
Yes.
One of your special edition cards, putting everybody in the same, the 12s, the Seahawks, and your cats on the same card. How did this happen?
Yes, I know. All my cards are cat themed. It's got my 3 cats, and they all have their little personalities, and I won't go down that rabbit hole. But for people who are listening of cats, you totally are like, yes, my cat is special, and yes, they have personalities. So I draw each of them with their personalities and their features, but the whole city was so enraptured with the Seahawks, the win in the Super Bowl, like the energy. I've never experienced that in my life living here, and that was like the proudest I've ever felt about being from Seattle was that feeling, like before the game, after the game, everyone was so nice to each other. There was this moment where 2 weeks went by and no one honked at each other in the city because people were just in such good moods, and I thought, I love this. And I wanted to do something that kind of just captured that, and I love some sort of cleverness to trying to tuck into my cards because that always makes me chuckle. And when I thought of Beast Mode, I'm like, this is perfect because my cats are beasts. So, I tried to do as much as I could. Instead of it saying Rawlings, it says Yowlings, and National Lap Ball League, and a little quarterback call sleeve on the thing. It says 86 Bark and 24/7 Nap and Meow Cross and things like that on the quarterback call sleeve. So I went overboard because of stuff that makes me crack up, and other people have liked it. So that's a good sign, I think.
So with all this new venture that you're now in, what have you done to, how are they available? You said you had a blog. I'm sure people go to your Facebook. I know you're on Twitter as well, but have you been able to get them into stores here locally? I mean, how are some of the ways people can get their hands on them? Yeah,
I have my cards on Etsy, and it's thisweekincats.etsy.com, and I think you've got a link to that site from your website, 12 for 12s. I also just recently, last week, got my cards into the Elliott Bay Book Company in Capitol Hill in Seattle, which was awesome. And then just today, like an hour before I'm on now, I got my cards into another store again in Capitol Hill. So it's just day at a time, but it's really fun to do something that I love and try and push it forward with my own effort. And there's ups and downs with it. There's good news some days and then there's bad news some days, but it's really exciting to be doing something that you're passionate about and see it happen. So yeah, it's very early days, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hopeful that I keep making forward progress. I mean, how can you not with cats, but
well, obviously there's something new every day.
Well,
right?
Obviously. I mean, they will be the reason why the Seahawks win the Super Bowl next year. But that's a whole other show.
Well, I know that you come out with these. How often do you come out with a new card? Do you draw one every day and then get it printed up, or when someone goes and buys them, do you buy them in bulk, or is just one card that you have available every so often?
So that's a good question. I produce them at home for now, and when I get up to steam, I will have them printed in larger quantities. But I try to do a drawing once a week. That doesn't always happen. One would gather that I should be drawing once a week if it's called This Week in Cats. But with getting everything started, there's lots to do and getting this rolled out. But so when I get an order, I just get the cards packed up, and I'm having fun with designing packaging, and I just came up with a gift box set which has a little cat toy on it made out of yarn. So I'm really excited to put that up online. I'm really geeking out about it, but anyone that's passionate about anything, if it's football, you geek out about football, you geek out about the stuff that you love, and it's fun, and it's fun to have that space to do that and make it happen.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, look at me. I'm just some guy, started a radio show out of nowhere, had never done anything like this before, back last September. So I understand being a geek about something you're passionate with, very much so. And there's tons of work that goes into it. I can totally I can only guess how much time you spend doing what you do, and I'm sure it's a ton of time outside of just your regular job. So I get that very much. Well, let's transition here, because I know you're a fan of the team, and there's been something that's been going around. How do I say this? The community at large. The big hullabaloo about Richard Sherman being on the cover of Madden 15, and he had come out and said that he would love to have the LOB, Legion of Boom, on there with him, and it kind of died down, but someone that I actually have become connected with, Jason Coyner, he started up this petition online at change.org that currently they're at 9,259 signatures. They need 741 to get to their goal of 10,000, so we're very close. And it got me thinking that, with what you're doing, obviously it's a grassroots thing, and what he's doing, how do you think this fandom that we have, I mean, these types of initiatives, whether it's for profit like you're doing or something where Jason's doing it for the love, how do you think that those initiatives, how do they relate to the players? How do you think they see the efforts that we as fans make, in their honor, I guess?
Yeah, I think that fan support is the analogy I think of is these players, they have jobs, and their job is to satisfy, the customer or the shareholders and stakeholders, and that's the fans. And when you have a fan base that is supportive, as the 12s are in Seattle and groups across the country, the players want to work hard because they know that fans are paying attention, that they're going to games, that they're buying merchandise. But I think when people do things that aren't just the traditional channels, which is buying a ticket and buying merchandise that the team produces, they're doing their own things, like Jason's petition. I think that just shows that people are really committed and that they care. And you just, as a player, you don't want to let that down. I mean, you don't. It's the same thing when you have, people who play high school sports or college sports. It's that same thing. Like the fans is a really powerful force. And I mean, it's been talked about that other teams can't hear when we're playing, home games because the fans are so loud. Like, that's really cool. So I think that the fact that Jason said, you know what, I want to see if I can do something about it, and I'm certain that Entertainment Arts will absolutely, they will do something. They have to, because there's this PR opportunity for them to make good on it. They probably will come up with a way to make money, but it's a really good way to show the fans we're hearing you, but at the same time, support the team, because they worked really hard and they've gotten obviously very far, and have high expectations, and crossing my fingers for next year.
Well, I can't disagree with you in one way, anyway, really, because the fact is that there are so many ways our people in our fan base get excited and do things like make musicals, maybe, like Memories from Cat. I just thought this song summed up everything that we're doing here, especially what you're doing, Margot. And you're providing memories. So
I thought you were going to play Eye of the Tiger, Paul. This is a pleasant surprise.
Well, I had to come up with something original. But regardless, our time...
It was original.
Our time has come to an end. I'm very much going to keep all your information on the website. Anything I can do for you, Margot, please let me know. And why don't you, before you go, let everybody know how they can follow you. Again, the locations they can find the cards, especially the Beast Mode card, which I'm assuming my audience will just want to have their hands all over. So please do that for them.
Yeah. Sure. So it's thisweekincats.etsy.com. I'm also on Facebook under This Week in Cats, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. Pretty much all over the place. Again, thisweekincats.etsy.com. Also, thisweekincats.com is my blog where I have pictures of cats, drawings, whatnot. And thank you, Paul. I really appreciate it. It was great to join you tonight. And if there's anything that I can do for you, please let me know.
We'll let everybody know that there's a great radio show every Tuesday. It's available on demand on all the different iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, podcast places you can think of, Xbox, Zoom. So, again, just spread the word, and I'll do the same for you. And, again, thank you so much, Margot, for being on tonight.
Thanks, Paul. Have a good night. Thank you.
You betcha. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go, folks. Margot Wallen, fantastic. This Week in Cats, beautiful cards. Check them out. Again, all of our information will be on my website. You can link to it and go shopping.